Have you ever wondered how the word yes can change your life? For me, this simple response has always been a gateway to the unexpected, the challenging, and the transformative. As a young man, I had no money, no connections, and not even a clear plan. But I had one mindset: to embrace the unknown. At the beginning of Alibaba, we said yes to challenges that seemed impossible. Not because we knew how to solve them, but because we understood that saying no was the same as not trying. Saying yes is not just about accepting tasks. It's an act of courage. I remember the first time I went to Seattle in 1995. It was there that I saw the internet for the first time. At that moment, I didn't fully understand what it was, but I said yes to the idea of exploring it. I returned to China convinced that the internet could change the world, even when no one believed me. That experience taught me that saying yes is about believing in the invisible, even when others around you think it's impossible. How many times have you said no because you felt unprepared? That is the greatest enemy of progress. If not now, when? If not you, who? This is the essence of a growth mindset. Every yes brings opportunities to expand your limits, develop resilience, and most importantly, learn. It's like planting seeds. Not all may bloom, but the ones that do can transform your life. It's fascinating how the courage to say yes creates possibilities. Imagine how Airbnb started. Two friends said yes to the idea of renting air mattresses to make some extra money. The world called it madness, but today they run a global platform. When you say yes, you're not just accepting, you're leading with vision and confidence. So here's the question: what will you say the next time an opportunity knocks on your door? Saying yes could be the difference between staying where you are and becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Many people look at the market and think, what can I sell to make money? But I've always asked, what problem can I solve to create value? From the very beginning of Alibaba, my vision was clear. We weren't an e-commerce company, but problem solvers for small businesses. True innovation doesn't arise from selling, but from solving. What are you doing to transform pain points into opportunities? I recall a story that has always inspired me. A young entrepreneur developed a new type of surgical tweezers after realizing that traditional instruments caused discomfort for doctors. He wasn't trying to sell just another product, but to meet a specific need. That's the secret. Stop chasing what already exists and start looking for what's missing. Often, the answer is hidden where no one else is looking. When I came back from Seattle and told people that the internet would be the future, almost no one believed me. They said, "The internet is just a concept, Jack. How will you make money with it?" But I saw something different. A solution for small businesses in China to reach the world. Focusing on the problem, not on immediate profit, is what led us to create a commerce system that connected millions of entrepreneurs to global opportunities. Focusing on problems also requires curiosity. Look at Airbnb. While many thought of large hotels and complex lodging structures, the founders tackled something simple: the difficulty of finding affordable accommodations. They didn't create anything extravagant. They simply looked at the problem with fresh eyes. If you want to innovate, ask yourself, what do people really need but don't have? The question isn't how many ideas you have, but how many problems you're willing to solve. Think about it. When you stop focusing on the product and start concentrating on the solution, the paths open. What challenges in your field could be turned into opportunities no one else has seen? Many people dream big, but don't know how to take the first step. I've learned that great achievements begin with small and consistent actions. When I founded Alibaba, we were in a tiny apartment with just 18 people. We had no money, no technology, and no connections. But we had a clear vision: to connect small businesses to the internet. It may sound ambitious, but we started by solving simple problems one step at a time. Remember, dreaming big doesn't mean starting big. Nike, for example, started with a very specific idea: creating shoes for long-distance runners. They didn't try to conquer the world all at once. They focused on meeting a clearly defined need. This model teaches us that before thinking about expanding, you need to master the basics. When you solve something small with excellence, bigger opportunities come naturally. At the start, many people told me, "Jack, you're thinking too big. The internet will never matter in China." But instead of trying to change their opinions, I adjusted my approach. I've always believed that to catch the rabbit, you shouldn't try to change the rabbit, but adapt yourself. That's the secret of starting small, adjusting to reality, while never losing sight of the bigger dream. Starting small also means learning while building. Every mistake we made in Alibaba's early days was a lesson for doing better the next time. It's like planting a tree. You need to nurture the roots before thinking about the fruits. Focus on what's within your reach today, and the future will take care of broadening your horizons. So, what will your first small step be? Great stories aren't born out of haste, but from patience and resilience. When you combine big dreams with small steps, something magical happens. Who can you help, or what can you create today that will bring you closer to your ultimate goal? In the world of business, one thing is certain: what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. I've always believed that the ability to reinvent yourself is what separates those who survive from those who thrive. When we started Alibaba, everything was different. The internet was just beginning in China, and many people doubted its relevance. Yet, we saw an opportunity to shape the future. But that was only possible because we were willing to change and learn constantly. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that change is not an enemy, it's a teacher. I remember when we realized that simply connecting buyers and sellers online wasn't enough. Many didn't have access to reliable payment systems. We had to reinvent ourselves and create our payment platform, Alipay, even though it was completely outside our initial plan. This change was what truly propelled Alibaba to the next level. If you want to survive in this constantly evolving world, you need to ask yourself, how can I adapt to what's coming? It's like navigating a river. You can't control the current, but you can adjust your sails. Remember Airbnb. They started by renting out air mattresses, but kept reinventing themselves until they created one of the world's largest hospitality platforms. Each reinvention was a response to changing customer needs. Reinventing yourself also requires the courage to let go of the old. Often, we cling to what we already know because we're afraid to start something new. But the truth is, if you don't change, you'll fall behind. As I often say, if the world is changing and you don't change, you've already lost. Adapting isn't a choice. It's a necessity for those who want to build something meaningful. So, what will your next reinvention be? Perhaps it's time to look at your skills, your business, or even your daily habits with fresh eyes. True transformation happens when you decide to adjust to the future, not wait for it to adjust to you. Have you ever stopped to think that the world will never be completely ready for your ideas? If you wait for the perfect moment, it will never come. I've learned that in life and business, the first step is not about having a finished product, but selling the vision. When we started Alibaba, we had nothing but a simple website and a big idea. Even so, I convinced my friends and investors that it could change the future. Great stories begin with small, confident steps. Elon Musk, for example, sold the idea of Tesla before the car was in production. He showed people the vision of a sustainable future and invited them to believe in it with him. This mindset is powerful. Often, people don't buy what you have. They buy what you believe. That energy transforms ideas into movements. When you take the first step, even without certainty of success, something incredible happens. You inspire others to believe too. I remember telling my team in Alibaba's early days, If we, with no money and technology, can succeed, then 80% of the people in the world can too. That belief was contagious and brought everyone around me together for something bigger than ourselves. The first step isn't about perfection, it's about action. Many times, we wait for all the pieces of the puzzle to fit before starting. But as I often say, you will never have 100% certainty. Make the decision with what you have now. Every step, no matter how uncertain, brings you closer to turning your vision into reality. So, what's stopping you from taking the first step? Maybe it's time to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start selling your idea. When you truly believe in what you're building, others will follow your lead. What can you do today to turn your ideas into action? Who said you need all the resources to start? At the beginning of Alibaba, we had no money, no technology, and no connections. But we had creativity and the courage to use what was within our reach. I've always believed that limitations are not barriers. They are the source of true innovation. Often, the resources you need are right in front of you, waiting to be used wisely. I recall a fascinating story about an adventure company in the United Kingdom. They didn't have capital to buy land, but used trees borrowed from the Forestry Commission to create a sustainable business. This reminds me of what I often say. If you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. They didn't try to alter the circumstances, but adapted their strategies to take advantage of available opportunities. Creativity in using resources innovatively is what sets great entrepreneurs apart. In the early days, we used borrowed computers and even worked in shared spaces. We didn't need fancy offices or state-of-the-art equipment to get started. The important thing was to make things happen with what we had. That's how you turn limitations into advantages. Small businesses can learn from this too. Look at Airbnb's example. They started with inflatable mattresses and used common spaces to create a revolutionary concept. They didn't wait for big investments to begin. They used what they already had. This mindset proves that scarcity of resources can inspire out-of-the-box thinking. And you? What's around you that can be repurposed or adapted? Perhaps it's time to look at the resources you already have and think about how to use them creatively. Remember, great ideas don't always require significant investments, just great minds willing to find solutions. What would you do if you had an idea no one believed in? That was the reality faced by Airbnb's founders. They started by renting inflatable mattresses in their living room to make some extra money. It may seem simple or even a bit absurd, but that idea transformed the concept of hospitality worldwide. This reminds me of something I often say. If you don't try, you'll never know what's possible. At first, they faced countless rejections. Investors thought the idea had no future and that no one would trust strangers to share their homes. But instead of giving up, they focused on improving the user experience and solved a real problem, the lack of affordable options for travelers. Just like in Alibaba's early days, they knew that innovation is about solving problems creatively, not following traditional rules. Airbnb's success is also tied to the courage to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. Often, what seems like a small solution to a local need can become a global revolution. Think about it. They didn't build hotels. They used what already existed, but approached it innovatively. That's the essence of turning obstacles into opportunities. The Airbnb story teaches us that the greatest ideas don't need to start with vast resources. They require vision, resilience, and a genuine connection to what people truly need. Like Airbnb's founders, I've always believed that listening to customers is the best way to innovate. When you focus on people's needs, you find a path where others only see limitations. So, look around. What can you transform? Airbnb proved that even the simplest spaces have the potential to become something extraordinary. Perhaps the next big idea is hidden in the details of your daily life, waiting for you to have the courage to bring it to life. We often think that only big ideas can change the world. But the truth is that the simplest problems can hide transformative solutions. One story that inspires me is about the company that created more efficient surgical tweezers. They noticed that traditional models caused difficulties for doctors and turned that small detail into a revolutionary innovation. This reminds me of what I often say. It doesn't matter how small you start. What matters is the impact you create. The secret lies in looking at everyday life with curious eyes. The small problems around us are often ignored because they seem insignificant. But for those with vision, they are opportunities waiting to be discovered. That's how we started Alibaba. Small businesses struggled to find customers outside their towns. By solving that seemingly simple issue, we created a platform that connected millions of businesses to the global market. Turning small problems into big solutions requires empathy. You need to understand people's pain before offering an answer. Look at Airbnb again. They didn't try to compete with big hotel chains. Instead, they solved the challenge of ordinary people struggling to find affordable and reliable accommodations. Focusing on these details is what led them to build one of the world's largest companies. Another important point is that small adjustments can create significant impacts. When you solve something specific with excellence, you're not just creating a product or service, you're transforming people's experiences. This kind of impact goes far beyond a simple transaction. It builds trust, loyalty, and a legacy that resonates for generations. And you? What small but urgent problem is within your reach today? Often, the greatest opportunities are hidden in the simplest places. The key is to see the potential to turn the ordinary into something extraordinary. Many entrepreneurs dream of reaching a massive audience, but they often overlook the immense power of focusing on a niche. When we started Alibaba, our vision wasn't to dominate the global market immediately. Instead, we focused on empowering small businesses in China to connect with the world. It was a highly specific niche, but it had an incredible impact. As I often say, start small, but think big. That's the path to mastering your market. Nike's story is a perfect example of this principle. They began with a single focus, creating the perfect running shoe for long-distance athletes. By addressing the needs of a specific group, they built a product that stood out and gained immense loyalty. This approach is a powerful reminder that niches are the birthplace of innovation and brand authenticity. Focusing on a niche doesn't mean limiting your potential. It means building a strong foundation. When we prioritized small businesses at Alibaba, we learned about their unique challenges and tailored our platform to solve their problems. That deep understanding allowed us to grow sustainably, one step at a time. The result? A loyal customer base that became the cornerstone of our success. Niches also allow you to deliver unparalleled value. By honing in on a specific audience, you can refine your product or service to meet their exact needs. This creates a level of trust and connection that is hard to achieve with a broader approach. As I often say, it's better to do something that 10 people love deeply than something 10,000 people only like moderately. So what niche are you passionate about? The power of niches lies in their ability to create loyal communities and meaningful impact. When you focus on serving a specific audience with excellence, you set the stage for growth that extends far beyond what you initially imagined. True leaders and successful entrepreneurs know that the key to growth is listening. It's not just about hearing what people say, but truly understanding their needs and emotions. At Alibaba, I always told my team that our best ideas didn't come from boardrooms, but from listening to our customers. Their feedback was more valuable than any market analysis, shaping the way we built our platform. Listening isn't passive. It's an active pursuit of insight. I remember a time when small business owners on Alibaba told us about their struggles with trust and payment security. That feedback led us to create Alipay, a solution that addressed their concerns and gave them confidence in online transactions. It was a game changer for our business, all because we were willing to listen and adapt. Great companies aren't just built on innovative products. They're built on strong relationships. Listening to your customers isn't just about solving their current problems, it's about anticipating their future needs. Think about Airbnb. They continuously adapted their platform based on user feedback, improving the experience for both hosts and travelers. That focus on listening turned them into a trusted global brand. But listening isn't limited to customers. It's equally important to listen to your team. I've always believed that the best ideas come from collaboration, and that starts with creating an environment where people feel heard. When your team knows their voices matter, they're more engaged and willing to contribute their best. So how often do you truly listen? The greatest opportunities often come from what people around you are trying to say. When you open your ears and your mind, you gain the clarity to take your next big step. When you're faced with limitations, it's easy to feel discouraged. But I've always believed that constraints are not barriers, they're opportunities in disguise. At the beginning of Alibaba, we had no resources, no funding, and no government support. It could have been an excuse to give up, but instead, it became a reason to innovate. We looked at what we didn't have and used it as motivation to create something extraordinary. One of my favorite stories is about a company that built an adventure business using trees borrowed from the Forestry Commission in the United Kingdom. They didn't have the capital to buy land, so they worked with what was available. That's the power of creative thinking. As I often say, complaining never solves problems. Use your limitations to find hidden opportunities. Constraints force you to think outside the box. For Alibaba, the lack of logistics and payment infrastructure in China was a major challenge. Instead of waiting for someone else to solve it, we created our own systems. That's how Alipay and Cainiao Logistics were born. These innovations didn't just overcome our limitations. They became strengths that fueled our growth. Turning constraints into opportunities also requires a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing what's missing as a weakness, view it as a challenge to improve. Take Airbnb as an example. They started with nothing but air mattresses and turned it into $1 billion business by addressing a simple need. Their resourcefulness turned scarcity into a competitive advantage. What constraints are you facing right now? Perhaps they are not obstacles, but opportunities waiting for you to unlock their potential. The key is to embrace the challenge and use it as a springboard for growth and innovation. The world will often tell you no. It will say, your ideas are impossible, your plans are unrealistic, and your dreams are too big. But I've learned that the most transformative moments come when you dare to say yes in the face of rejection. When I started Alibaba, people laughed at the idea of e-commerce in China. They told me, no one will trust online shopping. But I said yes to the vision because I believed in what could be, not what already was. Saying yes is about seeing possibilities where others see limitations. It's about leading instead of following. When Airbnb's founders were rejected by investors, they didn't give up. They focused on refining their idea and proving that it could work. That determination turned an absurd concept into a global phenomenon. This mindset is not about breaking the rules, it's about rewriting them. I remember the countless rejections I faced in my life, from being turned down by Harvard 10 times to being the only candidate rejected by KFC in my city. The world had many ways of telling me no, but every no was a chance to grow stronger and try again. I often tell people, if you don't try, you'll never know what's possible. Saying yes also means taking responsibility for your dreams. It's easy to let fear of failure hold you back, but courage is what sets leaders apart. If not now, when? If not you, who? This simple shift in mindset can turn obstacles into opportunities and open doors you never imagined. So, what will you do the next time the world says no? Saying yes isn't about defying others. It's about believing in yourself and the possibilities you can create. In a world full of complexity, simplicity is a superpower. Great ideas don't have to be complicated. They just need to address a clear need. When we started Alibaba, our goal was straightforward: connect small businesses with buyers through the internet. This clarity of purpose allowed us to focus on what truly mattered and build something that made a difference. Tesla is a great example of simplicity in action. They started with a single vision: to create electric cars that people would love to drive. They didn't try to do everything at once. They focused on one goal and executed it with precision. This approach reminds me that simplicity isn't about lacking depth. It's about cutting through the noise and delivering value where it counts. Simplicity also brings focus. When you strip away the unnecessary, you can concentrate your energy on what truly drives success. At Alibaba, we constantly asked ourselves, what do our customers really need? That question guided our decisions and kept us grounded, even as we grew into a global company. But simplicity isn't always easy. It requires discipline to resist the temptation to overcomplicate things. It's about saying no to distractions and yes to clarity. As I often remind people, keep your goals simple and clear. Simplicity is the key to success. What can you simplify in your life or business today? Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come not from adding more, but from focusing on less. The power of simplicity is transformative. It helps you see clearly, act decisively, and make a lasting impact. Success is often romanticized as a sudden breakthrough, but the truth is far less glamorous. It takes years of persistence, effort, and most importantly, patience. Alibaba wasn't built overnight. It took us 19 years of trial, error, and resilience to reach where we are today. Patience isn't just waiting. It's actively working toward a goal, even when results are slow. Take Tesla, for example. It didn't become a leader in electric vehicles in its first year, or even its first decade. Their team invested years in refining technology, overcoming setbacks, and educating the market. This reminds us that building something worthwhile requires endurance and long-term vision. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. Patience also means celebrating small victories along the way. At Alibaba, every step forward, no matter how minor, was an achievement. It's easy to get discouraged when the big picture feels out of reach. But by focusing on incremental progress, you build the momentum needed for significant breakthroughs. The greatest obstacle to patience is the modern desire for instant results. But, as I've often said, the biggest reason people give up is because they lack patience. True growth takes time, whether it's in business, relationships, or personal development. The secret is to trust the process and stay consistent. What are you rushing toward today? Perhaps it's time to take a step back and focus on the journey instead of the destination. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about believing that your efforts will pay off, no matter how long it takes. Every groundbreaking achievement begins with a single small step. Alibaba didn't start as a global powerhouse. It started as a modest website built to connect small businesses. Those early, seemingly insignificant actions were the foundation of something much larger. As I often say, big dreams start with small actions. Just begin. Small steps are often underestimated, but they are the building blocks of innovation. Look at the rise of the smartphone. It wasn't an overnight success. It evolved through years of incremental improvements, each one building on the last. This reminds us that innovation doesn't have to be dramatic. It can happen through consistent, meaningful progress. The key to small steps is consistency. At Alibaba, we didn't achieve our goals by taking giant leaps. Instead, we focused on solving one problem at a time, learning from each step, and using those lessons to move forward. It's not about how fast you go, it's about not stopping. Taking small steps also reduces fear. When faced with a daunting challenge, the idea of tackling everything at once can feel overwhelming. But breaking it into manageable actions makes it achievable. As I often remind people, don't let the size of your dream scare you. Just take the first step. What small step can you take today? It might not seem like much, but over time, those tiny actions can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Innovation doesn't demand perfection from the start. It demands the courage to begin. Great achievements are rarely the work of one individual. Collaboration has been at the heart of every success story, and Alibaba is no exception. When we started, we were just 18 people in a small apartment, each with different strengths and weaknesses. What made us succeed wasn't individual brilliance. It was our ability to work together toward a shared vision. I often say, alone, you go fast, but together, you go far. Collaboration isn't just about dividing tasks. It's about multiplying ideas. I've always believed that working with people smarter than you is a strength, not a weakness. When I became Alibaba's CEO, I wasn't the most qualified person for the job. In fact, my venture capitalist once told me, "Jack, step down. You don't know how to be a CEO." But instead of stepping back, I focused on building a team that complemented my weaknesses. Some of our greatest breakthroughs came from partnerships. Whether it was working with logistics companies to solve delivery issues or collaborating with local governments to expand internet access, each collaboration brought unique value. Every entrepreneur should ask themselves, who can I partner with to achieve what I can't do alone? The power of collaboration also extends to customers. Listening to their feedback and incorporating their ideas helped us improve our services and build loyalty. Take Airbnb as an example. Their relationship with hosts and guests created a feedback loop that transformed a small idea into a global phenomenon. Who could you team up with to achieve your goals? Collaboration isn't about giving up control. It's about multiplying possibilities. By working with others, you can go further than you ever could on your own. Success isn't just about solving today's problems. It's about preparing for tomorrow's opportunities. Visionaries like Elon Musk succeed because they see what others can't. At Alibaba, we built our business on the belief that the internet would transform commerce, even when it was still in its infancy in China. As I often say, don't follow trends, create them. Anticipating the future requires paying attention to emerging patterns. Think about the rise of artificial intelligence. 20 years ago, it was a concept reserved for science fiction. Today, it's reshaping industries and creating entirely new ones. Entrepreneurs who look ahead and prepare for these shifts will always stay ahead of the curve. Preparation for the future also means adapting to the unknown. When we started Alibaba, we didn't have a roadmap for success. Instead, we stayed curious and open to change. This mindset allowed us to pivot when needed and seize opportunities as they arose. It's not just about predicting the future. It's about staying ready for it. One way to anticipate future needs is to ask yourself, what will people want 5 years from now that they don't even realize today? This approach has guided companies like Tesla and Amazon, who built empires on products and services that shaped new consumer behaviors. What trends are you noticing in your field? The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Don't wait for the wave to come. Be the one who creates it. Failure is often seen as something to avoid, but I've learned that it's an essential part of the journey to success. When I applied for jobs, I was rejected 30 times. Even KFC turned me down. Harvard rejected me 10 times. Each failure could have been a reason to quit, but instead, it became a lesson. As I often remind people, today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be beautiful. Failure teaches resilience. In Alibaba's early days, we faced rejection from nearly every investor we approached. They didn't believe in our idea, but we didn't stop believing in ourselves. Each no pushed us to refine our pitch and improve our approach. Those failures weren't setbacks, they were stepping stones. Overcoming the fear of failure also means embracing risk. Look at Airbnb. The founders were told their idea would never work, but they took the risk anyway. Today, they've transformed the hospitality industry. Fear is natural, but it shouldn't paralyze you. Instead, let it motivate you to prove the doubters wrong. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Each mistake is a chance to learn and grow stronger. The real failure is never trying in the first place. If you're afraid of falling, you'll never take the leap that could change your life. What risks are you avoiding because of fear? Remember, every failure brings you one step closer to success. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. The most successful entrepreneurs share one trait: persistence. It's not about how fast you achieve your goals, but about never stopping. Building Alibaba was a marathon, not a sprint. There were days when we thought we might not survive, but giving up was never an option. As I often say, what matters most is not how quickly you move, but that you never stop. Persistence requires patience. It's easy to get frustrated when results don't come quickly, but great achievements take time. Think about Tesla's journey. It took years of setbacks and refinements before they became the leader in electric vehicles. Their persistence is what turned a bold idea into a global movement. Staying persistent also means staying focused. At Alibaba, we faced countless distractions, from competition to changing markets, but we kept our eyes on the goal: empowering small businesses. That unwavering focus allowed us to overcome challenges and stay on course. The hardest part of persistence is pushing through when things seem hopeless. I remember times when we had no money and no support, yet we kept working, kept believing, and kept building. Success is not about avoiding challenges, it's about confronting them head on. What's keeping you from moving forward today? Persistence isn't about winning every battle. It's about staying in the fight. As long as you keep going, success will eventually come. Success is not just about personal gain. It's about leaving a legacy that benefits others. At Alibaba, we always prioritized helping small businesses thrive. For me, the ultimate goal wasn't just to build a successful company, but to create something meaningful that would outlive us. The greatest success is helping others succeed, I often say. Impact starts with purpose. When we launched Alibaba, our purpose was simple: to give small businesses a voice in the global market. That clarity of mission drove every decision we made, from building trust with users to creating tools that empowered entrepreneurs. Purpose gives your work meaning and motivates you to go the extra mile. Leaving a legacy also means thinking beyond profits. Companies like Tesla and Patagonia have shown that businesses can create positive change while succeeding financially. Their work isn't just about revenue, it's about creating a better world. This mindset shifts how you approach challenges and opportunities. Your legacy is built one action at a time. It's in the way you treat your customers, empower your team, and contribute to your community. Even small actions can create ripple effects that last for generations. The question isn't just what you're building, but who you're building it for. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? Success is temporary, but the impact you make can endure. Focus on creating value for others, and you'll build something truly timeless.
In a world that's changing faster than ever, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Many of us struggle with distractions, lack of direction, or the fear of taking that first step toward our goals. During his recent talk, Jack Ma, the visionary co-founder of Alibaba, shared powerful insights that captivated millions. With his trademark blend of humor, storytelling, and wisdom, he offered a roadmap for anyone ready to break free from limitations and embrace a transformative mindset. Jack Ma began by reflecting on the small but courageous steps that led to Alibaba's success. From saying yes to challenges that seemed impossible to harnessing creativity in the face of constraints. His journey was a testament to the power of unconventional thinking. If not now, when? If not me, who? He asked the audience, reminding them that the courage to act is often the first step to greatness. He also emphasized the importance of focusing on problems rather than products, sharing how addressing customer pain points has driven innovation at Alibaba, whether it's starting with nothing but an idea or leveraging limited resources creatively. Jack Ma showed that success often comes from looking at the world with fresh eyes and daring to solve even the smallest issues with excellence. One of the most compelling parts of his talk was his perspective on adaptation. If the world is changing and you don't change, you've already lost, he warned, urging everyone to embrace reinvention as a necessity rather than an option. Drawing parallels to the journey of Airbnb, he demonstrated how innovation often stems from turning simple ideas into revolutionary solutions. Jack Ma didn't stop at strategy. He dove into the mindset needed for lasting success. Patience, persistence, and the ability to simplify complex challenges were at the heart of his message. Using vivid examples, he explained how small, consistent steps lead to monumental achievements, whether in personal growth or business ventures. He closed by asking the audience a thought-provoking question. What legacy will you leave behind? For Jack Ma, true success isn't just about personal gain, it's about creating value for others and building something meaningful that stands the test of time. Through his inspiring words, Jack Ma reminded everyone that the tools for transformation are already within their reach. The real question is, are you ready to use them? Now that you've absorbed these powerful insights from Jack Ma, it's time to take action. Don't let these words sit idle in your mind, transform them into tangible steps that move you closer to your goals. The world is waiting for people who are willing to step out of their comfort zones, challenge conventional thinking, and, most importantly, keep moving forward, no matter how small the steps may seem. Ask yourself, what part of Jack Ma's message resonated with you the most? Was it the courage to say yes when the world says no? Or the realization that you can turn limitations into opportunities? Perhaps it was the understanding that your first step doesn't need to be perfect, but it simply needs to be taken. Whatever it is, commit to applying it today. Start small. Begin with one idea, one action, one moment of courage. The key is consistency. Remember, Jack Ma didn't become the visionary entrepreneur he is today because he had all the answers from the start. He became successful by learning from failures, staying persistent, and continuously adapting to new challenges. This is the mindset you need to embrace, too. Take a moment now to reflect. What is one thing you can do today that will take you closer to your dream? Don't wait for tomorrow or the perfect moments. Start now. The tools for success are already at your disposal, but it's up to you to take that first step. If you found value in this content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more transformative insights. Share your thoughts in the comments section. What part of Jack Ma's message spoke to you the most? And remember, if you ever need a dose of inspiration, you can always come back and watch this video again. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for greatness. And before you go, make sure to watch our next video on how to create lasting impact in your business and personal life. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Wash now. The mindset you need to turn problems into opportunities. Jack Ma's advice.